The clock strikes midnight and the magic wears off, but what's left behind is a trail of darkness, deception, and terror. Welcome to the creepy world of Sleeping Beauty, where the lines between reality and fantasy are blurred, and the truth is more sinister than you ever imagined. In the original fairy tale La Belle au Bois Dormant by Charles Perrault, Sleeping Beauty is not awakened by a romantic kiss. Instead, she is impregnated by the prince while she is still asleep, and gives birth to twins while in a magical coma. Sleeping Beauty's sleep is not just a peaceful slumber, it's actually a magical coma that lasts for 100 years. She is unconscious, unresponsive, and completely at the mercy of the prince who finds her. In the original fairy tale, the prince who finds Sleeping Beauty is not exactly a charming hero. He is actually a bit of a creep who breaks into the castle, finds Sleeping Beauty asleep, and then proceeds to kiss her and impregnate her while she is still unconscious. Sleeping Beauty's parents are actually responsible for her fate. They forget to invite the wicked fairy to their daughter's christening, which leads to the fairy's curse that puts Sleeping Beauty into a magical coma. The wicked fairy who curses Sleeping Beauty is not just a one-dimensional villain. She is actually a symbol of feminine power and the dangers of excluding women from positions of authority. Some scholars have interpreted Sleeping Beauty's sleep as a metaphor for puberty. The story can be seen as a symbol of the transition from childhood to adulthood, with Sleeping Beauty's sleep representing the confusion, uncertainty, and vulnerability of adolescence. The story of Sleeping Beauty is based on a real-life legend about a medieval princess named Talia, who was placed under a sleeping curse by a wicked fairy. The legend was first recorded in the 14th century and has since been adapted and modified into various different versions. Originally, Sleeping Beauty's castle is not just a romantic and picturesque setting. It's actually a prison that holds Sleeping Beauty captive for 100 years. The castle is surrounded by a forest of thorns that prevents anyone from entering or leaving. In the fairy tale, the prince's kiss is not just a romantic gesture that awakens Sleeping Beauty from her sleep. It's actually a symbol of the patriarchal power structures that govern society. The prince's kiss represents the male dominance and control that awakens Sleeping Beauty from her feminine passivity. Finally, Sleeping Beauty's story can be seen as a warning about the dangers of unconsciousness and the importance of being aware of one's surroundings. Sleeping Beauty's sleep represents a state of vulnerability and powerlessness, and her story serves as a reminder to always be vigilant and aware of the world around us. Aurora, aka Sleeping Beauty, is only 16 years old in the Disney movie. This makes her romance with Prince Philip, who is significantly older, a bit unsettling. Maleficent, the villain of Sleeping Beauty, was inspired by the medieval depictions of the devil. Her iconic horns and wings were designed to evoke a sense of evil and malevolence. As the sleeping curse is placed on Aurora by Maleficent, though the curse is actually placed on Aurora by a wicked fairy who is angry at not being invited to Aurora's christening. In the Disney movie, Prince Philip's kiss awakens Aurora from her sleep, but instead, in the original fairy tale, the prince's kiss is not just a romantic gesture, it's actually a symbol of the patriarchal power structures that govern society. Maleficent transforms into a dragon to battle Prince Philip, although Maleficent's true form is actually a giant serpent-like creature with wings. The forest of thorns that surrounds Aurora's castle is a symbol of the danger and isolation that Aurora faces. However, the forest of thorns is actually a symbol of the patriarchal society that restricts women's freedom and agency. The good fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather are depicted as kind, benevolent characters who help Aurora and Prince Philip. But in the Disney movie, the good fairies are actually depicted as being quite cruel and vindictive towards Maleficent. In the Disney movie, the ending is depicted as a happy romantic conclusion to the story. But the ending is actually quite dark and sinister. Aurora and Prince Philip get married, but the story ends with a sense of foreboding and unease. As we conclude our journey into the creepy facts about Sleeping Beauty, we're left with more questions than answers. What other beloved fairy tales hold dark secrets? What lies beneath the surface of our favorite childhood stories?